welcome to episode. Ooh, wow, that was hot in my own ear. Episode 13 of Addicted to Film.
Damn, are we up to 13 already? You sure?
Episode 13, and that man is Travis, big time Q&A Hopson.
What up, y'all? That Q&A was not a big deal, but I appreciate you hyping it up a little bit.
It was a big deal because you my dog, and
I appreciate
we
you
work
coming
together,
out.
and we support each other.
I appreciate you coming out for it.
Right.
I did a Q&A just last night at the Angelica Pop-Up Theater.
Yes,
over by Union Market.
It was a big deal. People mobbed him afterwards. He was signing autographs. Little young girls was like, "You've inspired me. I want to review movies one day."
I hear that every day, though. But it's just, it was for a movie called Flex's Kings, which is kind of an urban dance movie set in East New York, Brooklyn. And it was all right, man. It's an all right movie. I know you weren't feeling it, but I thought it was okay.
My name is Tim Gordon, by the way, and no, I was. Well, it's not about me not feeling. I can't feel something that I didn't watch all of.
I'm sorry I didn't introduce you back, but you just kind of assume everybody knows who you are anyway.
No, not for this audience, man, because I know we were hot in Algiers last week, but the audience kind of circulates and moves around every week. So Tim Gordon, Travis Hopson.
We've actually been hot in America for the last couple weeks.
You mean the America that's now behind 1-0 against Portugal in the World Cup?
World fucking Cup here. I'm
really,
sorry.
Man?
No,
I mean, really, you unpatriotic BASTARD?
I'm unpatriotic when it comes to soccer.
Wow, such a hater. So anyway, man, let's move on from soccer. Please. Where Portugal is up 1-0 over the USA.
Yeah. Can you even just put the little thing with the updates away and focus on the show?
Man, all righty.
Okay.
Show, well, man. Let's start with the show. We're coming up later on in the show. We're going to review 2 movies this week. Those 2 movies, of course, are Think Like a Man 2 and Jersey Boys. We also have an interview with Travis Hopson. Well, actually, it's unfair because you can't really see either of us in the interview.
See either one of us.
But we interviewed Meagan Good.
And some homely guy.
Michael Ealy.
Oh, yeah, Michael Ealy.
So that's coming up a little later on. But first, let's get started, Travis. I was working the phones on the way in here, man, because right now is the award ceremony and the premiere of Spike Lee's latest film, The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
It's the premiere where?
In New York at At AVFF, the American Black Film Fest.
Right.
We have 2 sources that are embedded. You know how NBC uses the phrase, we embed people?
We have embedded reporters on the front line.
So I'm waiting on
AVFF.
I'm actually waiting on some updates. If they flash through the phone, we will give them out. But let us both congratulate the new Mr. July. The new Mr. Summertime.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart got a #1 movie, man, in the summertime.
Movie. This is what, 3 or 4 in a row for him?
But wait a minute. We talked about this last week. There's a big difference between having a #1 movie in February or April and having one in the summer film season.
Absolutely. No, it's a much bigger deal for Kevin Hart to have a #1 movie in the summer because this is blockbuster season. There's greater competition for him to face. And let's be honest, they picked the perfect weekend for them to drop that movie in.
You mean they're going up against Jersey Boys?
Going up against Jersey Boys, yes. So this was the right weekend to do it. Now the movie opened, Think Like a Man 2 opened with $30 million. So that's actually less than the first movie. And I have some theories on that, by the way, on why it's less. But it's $3 million less.
Well, we're gonna talk much more in depth about the actual movie itself.
Right.
When we get to that segment. But I brought that up because
I'm just talking about why. Before you go on, I'm just saying I have a theory on why it made less, not necessarily on the quality of the movie.
Why did it make less?
I believe because it's been 2 years since Think Like a Man, and when that movie came out, there was a serious lacking of that kind of movie with a lot of African American stars, especially with those particular African American stars. We've seen a lot more of them over the last 2 years.
Yeah, Best Man Holiday,
we've seen a lot more of them, and I feel like, audiences are probably like, I've seen more of these now. It's not as much of an event as it was when that movie came out. So I think that's probably why there's a little bit less urgency to run out and see that movie on the first weekend.
I will share my theory when we review the movie, because I think it has more movie based than it is. I mean, I think your point is well taken, that since then we've had several high-profile African-American ensemble films. If you're talking Fruitvale Station, The Butler, 12 Years a Slave,
Best Man Holiday,
There's been
a
bunch of these
Ride
movies.
Along. We've had a lot of these movies.
Yes, there's been a bunch of them.
So
a bunch of them.
Yeah, so I think people are like, okay, these movies are coming out a little bit more regularly now. We don't need to rush out and see this one right now. We can go see it next week. We can go see it the week after. That's all. We're not gonna have to go years without seeing another movie like this.
And that's legitimate. I mean, there could be some element of truth in that. Yeah. But as I called Travis on Friday morning, I was invited to be a guest on Roland Martin's. I think it's TV One's News One. I think it was News One Now. I think it was the name of the show, and it was.
Man, you don't know the title of the show you're on.
Well,
I don't know what that says about that show or you, but it just says something. It says something.
John Murray. Have you ever met John Murray?
No.
I need to introduce you to him. He's not based in D.C., but he comes to D.C. from time to time, and he and I are friendly. So the two of us were on the show, and the topic on the show were comments that Kevin Hart made as he was promoting Think Like a Man 2.
Oh, God.
That, he's tired of the label black film, and that the black film label is limiting him and limiting his earning potential. And he went on, and I think Roland, in a very aggressive style, went on to talk about the economics. It wasn't aggressive.
This is why they asked you to be on the show.
Well, see, but you would have been in the same boat, man.
But you're the founder of the Black Reel Awards, so it makes sense for them to ask you to be on there.
Yeah, but I'm saying they would have asked you the same question. You black, right?
Absolutely, but I'm talking about why you were asked and I wasn't asked.
You're saying it's because I was a Black Reel Award.
He looked at the show and he said, "I don't want that guy who comes in with X-Men shirts every week. I want the guy who opened the Black Reel Awards."
Well, anyway,
and I don't blame him.
No, but wait a minute. But let's have this conversation. So basically, I tried to explain that it doesn't make a lot of sense if you're a studio head, if you've got one of the hottest comedians working in Hollywood right now, whose films are opening number one in America, but then when it's time for those movies to get international distribution, that, as they claim, you're not marketing my film. If you're a studio, why would you not market a film with Kevin Hart? And even if you had an audience, if you're saying these films, this story may not translate overseas, did the Hangover translated overseas? It was almost like watching a black Hangover. Why would that movie not have translated overseas? And if you're a studio and didn't promote that film, what does that say about the studio? Not necessarily the actors or the cast.
These studios, they get into I'll call it a pattern. They kind of, we talk about how studios are slow to change and how they all just sort of mimic one another. And I think this is one of those things where, they have a certain perception of African American movies, whatever they are, and no matter what they do, they're slow to evolve on that. So it's similar to the conversation, and in our interview with Meagan Good and Michael Ealy, we actually kind of asked them about this stuff.
Well, I asked them about the Tay Diggs.
They're all sort of tied together.
Yeah.
They're all really tied together in terms of how African American movies are perceived and marketed by studios. You know.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question, because I know you remember this. We went to Middleburg,
beautiful
last fall. Yes. And we had a conversation for about a half an hour with Sheila Johnson, who created that festival, who also was a producer of The Butler. And you remember, I mean, there was some stuff. Yeah. Is it safe to talk about some of the things? Because we couldn't talk about them beforehand.
We couldn't talk about it. It's been a year.
Can we talk about it now? Okay.
As long as she's not watching.
Fine. Let's get this out here.
She might be mad if we're watching.
Wait, hold on a second.
She happens to be watching.
Now watch this.
Got more money than God. She could bury us, and we would never know.
Now, Travis, am I right or am I wrong that the conversation steered toward how Harvey Weinstein was going to promote Remember, I asked, I said, you got Harvey Weinstein has 3 high-profile African-American films to promote for Oscar. I said he's got the upcoming Mandela film, he has your film, and he also has Fruitvale Station. Yep. And remember that comment? She said yes. She said something to the like, yes, we are concerned. And I think if you look at the campaigns, it definitely played a part. Well, that you can't have all those movies and push them all.
Which is sad because they all sort of lumped together. It's like, well, why can't they just stand on their own as movies? They have to be perceived as black movies, so you can't promote them all. You can't give them all equal billing. It's sad, but that's just kind of the way things are. And I don't know how it can be changed unless we change it.
But wait a minute. But remember, you and I had this conversation after I got off Roland's show on Friday, and I said if you really think about it and look at our industry, that every movie is in a box. I said Seth Rogen and James Franco and that crew, for the most part, are lumped in with a certain type of movie. Now, Franco does some serious films, and he may get out the box.
Right, but those movies aren't. Whether or not another comedy gets promoted usually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Seth Rogen's previous movie did.
And you're making my point. So my point is that I think all movies are grouped together, but only African-American movies are penalized. Right. That if, take for instance, when Posse came out, I remember having a conversation with Mario Van Peebles. I told you the story. That he said when Posse doesn't work, it's not that this film didn't work, it's that black cowboy films don't play well. So anytime something black doesn't work, we just sweep it all under the rug. So the folks, I guess, if they're happy with Think Like a Man today, the people who are really happy or across the lot over at Universal are Malcolm Lee and the cast of The Best Man. They're like, woo, we can get another one made.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, sad, man. It's sad, man.
It's crazy. But
wow.
While we're already talking about this, this kind of just leads right into our first review because we're going to talk about Think Like a Man 2 now, which is the number 1 movie.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and play the clip from Think Like a Man 2, and let's talk about it on the other side.
So I've been giving this a lot of thought. I want you to be my best man.
Me?
No, said actually, I was talking to Don.
No, listen, don't say nothing right now, man. Like, I knew you and I had a connection, but this is crazy. Let me tell you something. This means so much to me. I'm not gonna let you down. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be the best man in the history of all best men. I've always wanted to be a best man. You gonna give me that opportunity? We came here to golf, and now you gonna give me this blessing? I gotta go to the bathroom, Dom. This little light of mine. I'm gonna...
All right.
Boy, I've been waiting 2 weeks for this one. Go ahead.
Why were you waiting so long to talk about this one, huh? Why are you
waiting so long? Because I've been saying the same analogy. I've said it on my show. Mm-hmm. If you would have let me be a guest on your show, which you don't anymore, I would have said it on your show. For obvious
reasons. I see and hear enough of you. I don't need to be on. You don't need to be on my show anymore for a while.
So here we go, man. I'm gonna do what Travis normally does. Best man. Think Like a Man 2. I keep wanting to say Best Man. Think Like a Man 2 is the further adventures of this ensemble, and of course, this time the group gets together in Las Vegas for a wedding. You just saw the scene where Kevin Hart just jumps in front of Michael Ealy and just takes his best manness from him.
Can I say something about this movie that I found funny before we really start digging into it?
Go ahead, man.
Every movie that Kevin Hart's in makes fun of his height because the guy is teeny tiny, right?
5'2".
That's
5'2",
5'2". He ought to wear lifts every day. Right. But he's 5'2". He's small. Every movie does it. This movie, I thought, did the best job of making fun of his height than any other movie that he's been in. They found some really clever ways. I'm serious. I mean, that scene was one of them. The reason why he was picked right there, his character Cedric was picked to be best man, is because, he was actually looking over his head at Michael Ealy. That's actually one of the funnier things in the movie is the way they did that. And they did this a couple other times in the movie, too, that I thought were really good.
All right. If I could describe this movie in a couple of letters, it would be TMKH.
What the hell is that?
Too much Kevin Hart. All right. Now
there had to have been a simpler way for you to say that.
Yeah, no, but TMKH because Kevin Hart narrates the movie. The story is about another couple getting married. Kevin Hart is the best. He's the best man. He's got the huge suite where everybody else has like regular rooms.
$40,000 a night suite.
He's the one who can't figure out the difference between what he perceives to be the rate of this mega suite that he's staying in versus the real adjusted price. To use my best analogy, and I've said this, Travis has heard it. Just think about the NBA Finals we just had with the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat.
I don't watch basketball, so
perfect. Well, thank God there are people in the audience who
do.
So if you think about these black urban romantic comedies, the San Antonio Spurs, the best man would be the San Antonio Spurs because in addition to Terrence Howard, you got different places to go with Neil Long,
who's the
Ted
Toronto
Diggs.
Raptors?
Can I finish my analogy? Because you're trying to be like a penis right now, and I'm like trying to lay this out.
I'm
saying that to think like a man would be like the Miami Heat. You got Kevin Hart, who's LeBron James, and not much else in his cast. So the movie only really works when Kevin Hart is throwing energy out, and when Kevin Hart is off screen, or when his character is minimized, this movie doesn't really work that well.
All right, so
really doesn't.
All right, so the movie's set in Vegas. As soon as I heard that they were setting this in Vegas, I was pissed because I knew it wasn't going to be good. Because most comedies set in Vegas, with the exception of The Hangover, tend to not be very good.
So you're saying Las Vegas wasn't good?
No. Okay. And that was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was a joke.
No, but I'm saying,
but look, and the Hangover got overconfident too because they went there the first time and they were like, oh, it worked.
They got so overconfident they went to Thailand and did the exact same movie. If it worked the first time,
well, then they had the nuts to come back to Vegas for the third movie, which stunk. So it was they got overconfident. But it's just like as soon as they went to Vegas, I was like, oh, this is a bad idea because what it meant to me was that they were not going to have the focus on the ensemble, kind of the relationships that the first movie had, which is why it was so good. Because I thought they did a really insightful job of looking at various kinds of relationships. And I've never read Steve Harvey's book. I never will. I'll probably never even touch the damn thing because I don't like Steve Harvey. But whatever was in there, I thought it translated well to the screen.
But you just made a great point, though.
This movie does not do that.
But you just made a great point that the backbone of Think Like a Man was the Steve Harvey book, and these characters trying to follow the kind of rules, the logic that Harvey presents. This movie has none of that. This movie is just a chance for them to get back together, and it's like crazy hijinks.
It feels like a perfunctory sequel to me, which is why I was like, when I said Vegas, I was like, damn, because that's exactly the idea that came to my head was this is not going to be what the first movie was at all. This is going to be a chance for them to act goofy in Sin City, which is exactly what it was. And in regards to what you were talking about with Kevin Hart, now he brings all the energy to the movie. That's true, but as our friend Nell Meno said, a little bit of Kevin Hart goes a long way, and he's the centerpiece of this movie. And I actually, it took away from the ensemble feel of it to me a little bit because I felt like all the characters that I really liked in the first movie, other than him, it kind of fell into the background. Like I didn't. There wasn't anything else that was going on in it that was particularly interesting to me.
All right, I'm looking at my phone right now, and I've got a live question.
If you give me a World Cup,
no, I've got a live question from somebody who's watching the show.
Okay,
this is Dre from Maryland. He basically said, and he's texting me from the barbershop.
He's from Maryland.
He said, who is the Lala character, and why is she in this movie?
She had no business being in the movie. She had nothing to add to the movie.
But I'm saying they never even explained where she came from. I mean, I know she had a small role in the first one. Right. Suddenly, she's on equal footing with Union, Good.
She didn't need to be there.
Henson.
She really didn't need to be there. I mean, and there are a lot of characters that didn't need to be in this movie. The guy who was the white guys who played Terrence.
You're talking about Owens, Gary Owens?
No. The Gary Owens was in the first movie, and he's actually funny. Right. I'm talking about the two friends of Terrence J.
Oh, yeah. What was that about?
They did not need to be there.
Was that an attempt to broaden the audience that was watching the movie?
I don't know why they were there. I seriously don't.
They didn't do anything.
It was Adam Brody and the other guy. They
didn't do anything.
So I mean,
hell, if you needed 2 people to be in the movie, you could have put Travis and I in the damn movie.
we can stand in the background as much as
Right,
anybody else.
I could tell a couple of corny jokes. I mean, some jokes probably just as corny as the ones they told.
Hey, I agree. But but this movie does have one really good part in it. And I think we both know what that part is.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's the apex of the movie that happens in the middle of the movie, and then it kind of limps down.
It does.
Limps to a painful finish. I remember at one point looking over at you and looking over at some other critics, and I went, "Why is nobody laughing?" And somebody said, "Because it's not funny."
Yeah. No, you're right. But we're gonna go, Michael Phillips.
Mike,
I want you
Mike
to go ahead
Phillips,
and play,
man. That's
play
our new
clip
dude
number
today.
2, and this is another.
If I were you, I'd take precaution before I step to meet a fly girl. You know, she's so high, she'll drive you right out of your mind, steal your heart when you're blind. Beware, she's scheming, she'll make you think you're dreaming. You'll fall in love and you'll be screaming, demon.
Poison, deadly, moving in slow. Looking for a mellow fella like to vote it. Hey, late so better lay low. Scheming on house money and the whole show. The low pro ho, she'll be cut like an afro. See what you're saying, huh? She's weighing you, but I know she's a loser.
How do you know?
Me and the crew used to do her.
All right, let me just say something, Travis. Even before I'm waiting until we can see ourselves. Okay, first of all, didn't we just see the Best Man Holiday? Can You Stand the Rain? No less than 6 months ago.
But that's the best part of the movie.
Dude, why would you need? Okay, I'm just here. Here we go again. Watch this. Here we go again. Here we go again. Why do you need to make an entire video in the middle of a friggin' comedy?
Okay, now I will give
Like the whole thing. Like if you really wanted to do it for effect, Travis, you do like the first line, kind of see him having fun, and just let it go.
Look, I'll give you that it goes on too long.
Right.
But it's still the best part of the movie. I mean, that is the part to me that they were clearly having the most fun. So, and for me, obviously, watching all those hot chicks do that video, I'm happy with that. So, I mean, look, I can agree with you that it goes on maybe 3 minutes too long. He didn't need to do the entire video. Believe me, that's just a fraction of it that I showed you right there. But still, it's still the best part of the film. And it comes dead in the middle. And, from there, it's downhill.
Breaking news: the U.S. has scored 1-1 World Cup, baby. Anyway, no, you're not. No, you're not. Okay, so here we go. Well, let's get back to this since I've said it's now 1-1 U.S. and Portugal. The issue with that being the best part of the movie, Travis, I absolutely agree with you. I think it, as I said earlier, it's the apex of the film. It just feels redundant, and it felt like it was way too long.
It's a redundant movie right from the start, though. That's one thing.
Are you saying you're not a fan of the #1 movie in the country this weekend?
I'm disappointed in this movie because I actually did like the first one a lot. I expected the second one to be better, not take a step backwards.
What about my assertion of too much Kevin Hart? Do you think it's too much Kevin Hart?
What I just said a few minutes ago, that
Okay.
a little bit of Kevin Hart goes a long way. You don't need to have him, be the centerpiece of every single thing that's going on in the movie. It took away from the ensemble, which is the best part about these two movies to me.
All right, so here's the question I have for you, Travis. In the next 18 months, Kevin Hart has been greenlit for 7 movies. Are we running the risk that, like, in the next year and a half, that the public is just going to be sick of this guy?
Yes.
I mean, for real?
Yes.
But why can't he see that, though?
He's at the beginning of this for him. This is still the beginning of his career, really. I mean, in terms of being like an A-list actor, this is just the start. He might be too close to it to notice that right now. He might notice it in a year. He might notice it later on. But I mean, this is what happens when people just become popular. They always front load all these movies. That's just the way it always goes.
Well,
and then they start taking a step backwards.
So in the 80s, right, when Eddie Murphy was hot, Eddie Murphy did Beverly Hills Cop. He did that ridiculous Best Defense, which really sucked in 84. He did Golden Child in 86, which was a piece of garbage. Golden Child's a piece of garbage, man.
It's not good, okay? It's not good.
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop. Did he do Beverly Hills Cop 2 before he did Coming to America?
I don't remember the dates. I think so, though.
Coming to America was really good. I don't remember Eddie, though, having a string of, like, multiple movies a year.
Hollywood was also very different back then than it is right now.
Okay, so let's talk about Will Smith then. Will Smith is legendary for being one movie a year guy. Denzel Washington is normally a one movie a year guy. Jamie Foxx, for the most part, might be a multiple movie guy, but he picks big projects to be multiple in.
The problem is, I mean, we are talking about just two different times two different eras, really. A lot of these guys you mentioned came up in the 80s and 90s.
80s and 90s. I'm trying to figure out, is there anybody else?
When studios weren't pumping out the movies the way they are now. Movies weren't being made as quickly as they are now either.
But
this is just totally different.
Is there anybody that we could look at their career who's doing something similar to what Hart is doing? It's like they become overexposed. Is there any actor that's out there?
Overexposed?
Not necessarily a black actor, because I just try to pull some black actors. I'm trying to think, is there any white actors out there? I mean, Tobey Maguire's not doing a bunch of movies like this.
He doesn't make many movies anymore.
Damn.
I'm sure if we thought about it, we could probably come up with some.
But it just bothers me that when I read that you've got 7 movies in the next 18 months, and you're literally going to be playing the same character in every movie.
He's going to be playing Kevin Hart. I know.
What was this new one they just showed the trailer? What is the Ringer?
The Wedding Ringer.
And when you look at it, what does it look like?
It looks like Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart again, except he's got Josh Gad next to him rather than somebody else, rather than Ice Cube.
Wow, man. All right.
So
it's that time, man. We've been talking about Think Like a Man too. Travis, set it up, man.
Well, you and I had a chance to sit down and talk with Meagan Good and Michael Ealy just a few days ago about Think Like a Man 2. And look, they're great to talk to. She's obviously gorgeous. Michael Ealy, Michael Ealy felt a little insecure when he saw me come walking in there, but it was okay. It was all right. I let it go. He still gave a good interview. But otherwise,
Travis was afraid to look Michael Ealy in the eyes because he might have gotten mesmerized.
All I know is everybody's like, ooh, Michael Ealy, as soon as you mention his damn name. So
right.
Whatever. But he's a nice dude though.
Meagan
Good though. Wow.
Meagan is good. You talking about somebody who's got the perfect name? Meagan is good, y'all.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to that interview right now with Michael Ealy and Meagan Good.
Welcome back to Addicted to Film. Travis and I here are with the very lovely Meagan Good and Michael Ealy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. Now, see, like the opposite sex would be like Michael Ealy and Meagan Good.
That's true.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Had an opportunity to see the film a couple of weeks ago. You guys are back together doing what you do. Lots of laughs. Talk a little bit about the film and share what it was getting back together the second time around.
Oh gosh. I mean, getting back together was probably the best part because it's such a family atmosphere. We've all worked together in some capacity on something. And the first one, the girls didn't get a chance to get together as much, but this one, we are totally togetherness. And then you got all the relationships. You get to see the next level, the elevation of each relationship individual. So all across the board, it was pretty festive.
Family reunion. Yeah, family reunion. And like riding a bike. I mean, we just literally picked up where we left off.
Yeah.
I was going to say, were you guys kind of surprised by the success of the first film, and were you expecting there to be a sequel, a follow-up to it?
I think for me, when we made it, I didn't anticipate this being a franchise film. And I think once I saw it, the first time I saw it, I realized this movie is really, really good. Like It came together nicely, and Tim did a wonderful job putting it all together because it's so many cast members. And so I started feeling good about it, and then obviously we opened so well.
Yeah.
I mean, we opened so strong. It was like, okay, this could actually turn into a sequel situation. And at that point, I said yes. Our expectations were surpassed.
Yeah.
But happy to be back.
Yeah.
So, First Lady Good.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there. As you walk in that fine line now with personal life as well as movie life, how's that balance working out? Not just necessarily for you on film, but as it relates in personal life as well, with the roles that you're choosing and the kind of project you're looking at.
I mean, to be honest, Not a whole lot has changed. You know, I was already Christian and had been since I was 12 before me and Devon got together. So the roles that I had already chose in the past and will in the future are all based on just whatever I get excited about, whether it's the bad guy that learns the lesson or there's repercussions because whatever the choices are that they made, or it's the good guy who, you know, goes through this journey, whatever it is. It's pretty much, my process is pretty much the same in that way. And then, you know, in terms of walking the thin line, I try not to walk it too much because then you become too concerned with, you know, people say you can't wear your hair like this, you can't have this much makeup on, you can't dye your hair, you can't play this role, you can't wear this outfit, you can't do this, you can't do that. It becomes too much and then you become inauthentic. And so for me, it's, you know, really keeping my eyes on God and being honest and authentic. And, you know, I think you can't lose that way.
And Heathen Michael, how about you? No, I'm teasing.
That's nice.
I just threw it out there. He had to look at it.
No, you know, it's funny. It's funny because I think if you do have faith in this business, right, you are somewhat of an oddity, and I find that interesting because, you know, we act. Our goal, that's what we do. We act. So if you play a bad person or you play someone who's not quote unquote Christian, that's the point of your job.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And people have to understand it's a job. It's not my way of life. I don't necessarily believe in everything.
Right.
So if I'm a serial killer, it doesn't mean that I really advocate killing people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, it's my job. It's the challenge of it.
Now, this film is obviously...
God loves artists.
Yes, he does, and God created artists.
That was for Travis.
I guess. All right, well... well, this film was obviously set in Vegas. Did you guys have as much fun in Vegas or take advantage of being in Vegas as it seems like you did in the movie? No?
Really?
Yeah.
No?
First 2 weeks, it was like, okay, yeah, well, let's hang out. Let's hang out. After that,
It was like, yeah, man, I gotta catch this sack, because if I don't, it's gonna be a wrap. You know, because literally we were coming to work at 1 a.m. in the morning, because that's when it was like slowing down. So we were getting up for our beginning of our day at midnight.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it was like very backwards, and we were kind of all over the place. So the most fun that we had was just hanging out with each other on set and cracking jokes and pointing out Lady in the Nights in between scenes. And, you know.
Wow.
But you guys must have had a ball during that whole poison sequence which is just insane.
It was great.
How did that work out? I mean, first of all, who came up with that? And second of all, how was that filming?
It was kind of a collaboration. Initially, you know, Tim, we were going to do In Vogue's Never Gonna Get It. And then from that, it evolved to Will Packer saying, you know what, let's do Poison. And then from that, it evolved to Tim saying, let's make an actual music video. And so it just kind of kept evolving.
Karaoke, wasn't it?
It was karaoke. It was supposed to be karaoke.
Wow.
And just became this whole other thing. But, you know, it was the best 2 days of work because we didn't have to learn no lines. All we had to do was just show up and just dance all day and have a good time. So
Now, recently, Tay Diggs made a statement about his film, The Best Man Holiday, and how they are waiting on the third film, but the executives have told them that it's based on the success of your sequel before they'll move forward on that film. And he looks at it as it being kind of a double standard that, you know, why are they still lumping these films together? Mm-hmm. If the situation were reversed and you guys were waiting on the third film, and you had to wait on the outcome of their film, can you talk a little bit about? And again, I'm not trying to get you guys in trouble. I'm just trying to get some feedback, because we thought it was kind of strange and thought it was kind of business as usual about how they try to lump these films together and they're all romantic comedies.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't understand why an executive would make that decision.
Right.
Like the franchise should stand on its own. I don't see, you know, I don't think the people that are making the next installment of Batman worried about what necessarily Spider-Man is doing right now. So I don't know. I don't understand that, to be honest with you. I genuinely don't understand what the two franchises have to do with each other.
Clearly, The Best Man did fine on its own.
Yeah.
Like, people saw the first one, and years later they wanted to see the second one in...
But I could also understand, what I could understand, though, is how The Best Man sequel was made, was finally made after the success of Think Like a Man. That makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Just like some of the other movies that, you know, like I know Love Jones was ramping up, you know, for a potential sequel because obviously Think Like a Man just kind of came out and did robust numbers. And now, you know, I mean, but I don't know, do we need to make a Butler too?
Eastwood's not.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but it's all about money.
It did $100 and some million. I don't think we're gonna make a sequel to The Butler, so I don't see how the franchises are connected, to be honest with you.
All right, before we get out of here, one last question. This movie saw your characters, your relationships evolve and sort of go to the next level, all of them basically. So where would you guys want to see in a third film? Where would you hope to take it? Since we're talking about sequels.
I love Megan's face.
I don't know.
We don't need to do another wedding.
No, we don't need to do another wedding.
need to
We've
do
done
another
that. We've done that. Maybe someone's prego.
Yeah, but that's only one couple.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's only one couple would be pregnant.
Come on, flesh it out. Come on, what we got?
I don't know. I'm hoping for something Survivor-esque. I don't know.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Everyone kept saying, like, we need to go to Brazil, we need to go this. And I'm like, yeah, but we need to more, like, go backpacking or, like, camping or, like, something, like, that just takes everyone out of a comfortable element.
You've done Vegas, so now you need to have that your European vacation or some vacation overseas or something, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. We may need to wait a while.
Hostel Part 4.
All I want you not to do is be Hangover Part 3. Outside of that, you're great. But thank both of you guys for your time. We're gonna take another break, and we'll be back with more of Addicted to Film.
All right.
Damn, she's fine. That's all I'm gonna say. Damn, she's fine.
So fine.
I love me some Meagan Good, man. I wish she was in. I wish she was in more movies. Actually, let me take that back. I wish she was in better movies. Because honestly, a look at her resume.
She's in that box that Kevin Hart was talking about. I mean,
box.
there's a legitimate. I mean, that whole thing, we were laughing earlier, but there is a legitimate box that certain actors
Let's
belong
talk some
to.
more about Meagan Good's box. What?
I am not going to
That came
disrespect
out wrong.
First Lady Good in that way. and it's funny. Watch this. It was so funny. I wish you could have saw Travis's face when I said, "What's up, First Lady Good?" Travis was like, "Oh, here we go with that."
No, they're great to talk to, though, really. So.
I will not talk about Meagan Good being in that box.
All right. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that interview with Michael Ealy and Meagan Good. But we got one more movie we need to talk about here today. And it's
Girls Don't Cry.
It is
You see me doing the move? No, that was for Walk Like a Man. And he said, "Walk like a man."
You know what? I'm really anxious to hear what you have to say about this movie right now. So let's go ahead and go to that clip of Jersey Boys, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Who loves you, pretty baby? Who's gonna help you through the night? Who loves you, pretty mama? Who's always there to make it right? Who loves you, pretty baby? Who's gonna help you through the night? Who loves you, pretty mama? Who's always there to make it right? Who loves you? Who loves you, pretty baby? Love you. Who's gonna love your mama? Who loves you, pretty baby?
Alrighty then.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie here, okay? I did not expect Jack out of Jersey Boys for a lot of reasons, okay? Number one, never seen the Broadway musical. I might now. I never saw the Broadway musical. I don't care about Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. I'm under the age of 70, so I don't care about Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. This is Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, as much as I love him, not the most imaginative director in the world, okay? He's very workmanlike in his direction. So, of course, you figure Broadway musical, Clint Eastwood, old people. This is a bad combination. But I'm going to tell you, I actually kind of like this movie. And you were sitting by me next to it while we were watching this. And I don't think you were feeling it the way I was. But you know what? I actually kind of dug it. What?
Nothing, man. Go ahead.
What I don't understand what the. What
you know,
all
I
that's
can't
about.
even look at you, man. While go ahead, man.
What? Nah. Now you gotta talk. What?
All right.
Nah, Lord.
Man, this is good.
This is not.
Basically,
that means the exact opposite.
No, man. Basically, Travis, you hit on a point that now were you out after the movie and we were having a discussion with the interns from the studio?
I did. I was out after the movie.
No, I'm saying that
otherwise I'd still be there.
Okay. There was a huge discussion with all these young people who kept trying to tell me, "Oh, Tim, you tripping. We all familiar with these songs." And I'm going, dude, I'm 50. I'm 50, all right? And I know that they hit songs. I didn't know the story.
Right.
Now, what as you and I sat there, now the middle of this movie was killing me. I was sitting there going,
right.
dude, this is the worst.
Well,
I don't know what Clint Eastwood is doing
it's
with this story. It was kind of like he was trying to make like a Goodfellas-esque movie with no. When I say Goodfellas-esque, I'm not talking about the crime element, but I'm talking about like the mob stuff, the look of that period.
The very beginning of it.
But there are mob elements in the
part
film.
of it, and there's mob elements in their formation.
Right.
I get it. But the first part of it, yes, it looks like The Sopranos light. I mean, that's what it looks like in the very
Right, because
beginning.
he's even cast several Sopranos actors in it.
And the thing about this movie, look, the rise and fall aspect of it is something we've all seen 100 times before. 5 Heartbeats, that thing you do, the commitments. We've seen that story 100 times before. You know, we know that story, and there's not a single part of this thing that differentiates from that at all.
Right.
But the thing I really dug about this movie more than I expected to, and I'm not gonna say it's perfect. I just gave you a couple reasons why it's not.
Right.
But the thing that I did end up liking about it is, you know, I think the lead performance by John Lloyd Young, who plays Frankie Valli in the Broadway musical, is excellent. I think he's actually really good. And I think that he gets sort of the innocence of Frankie Valli compared to his colleagues. I thought that I liked the aspect of where everybody in the neighborhood was trying to sort of protect him because he's the guy who has the best chance of actually getting out of that city because of his talent. I like that part of it, and I think it sort of has fun with how formulaic it is. I mean, there's a couple of scenes there where it makes fun of itself, like when the group figures out what their name's going to be. A big light literally lights up. It says 4 Seasons. I mean, that's silly, but it's kind of funny. You know, every time they came up, they needed a title for one of their big hit songs. They would find it either in TV or something like that. You know, stuff like that is funny. So I like the fact that it was able to not take itself too seriously, and I actually found myself really digging the music, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick that scene, because that's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Now, unfortunately, it comes at the end of the film,
which is my point. Which is what I wanted to say, right, is that the end sort of
the last.
I'm not gonna say it redeems the film, but kind of puts it in perspective, yep, and makes it kind of make sense, because if you didn't have that end, specifically like the last the scene, not like the final scene of the movie, but like the credit. The sequence,
last 15 minutes.
That was actually really well done.
I whispered to our friend Jen Chaney while we were watching the last 10 minutes of the movie or so. I said, I really wish this had been the entire movie.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, I wish Clint Eastwood was, and this goes back to Clint Eastwood and how he's not the most vibrant of filmmakers.
But we talk about Clint Eastwood, man. I mean, I remember reviewing J. Edgar a couple of years ago, and I told you that the movie kind of was flat all the way through. And there's no arc to the story. Yeah. It was almost like Eastwood wanted to include some of the salacious details, but just gave you just enough to know that they existed, but not enough to really kind of give it any context.
J. Edgar just started, and it just kind of sat there.
This movie, to me, as I said, man, I thought that the beginning of it had some interest when you're looking at the young Frankie and them trying to explain in the story with his, you know, how he was the special one in the neighborhood and everybody was tasked of protecting him. Christopher Walken plays like the local kind of
like Gyp DeCarlo, I think his name was.
Right. But he's like the local,
mobster.
The local guy who's like
not enough Walken.
Right.
Need more Walken.
But then the story peels into this kind of, he's got this code of the streets and this code on the inside that no matter what happens, he's going to try to make it right.
Well,
which
there's this thing with his best friend, played by Vincent Piazza. I think his name is Tony. He's got gambling.
His name is Tony DeVito.
Thank you, Tony DeVito.
No, but I'm saying there's a reason I remember that.
Why?
Because in Goodfellas, the character that Joe Pesci plays is Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito, which is an homage to his real life friend, because who now works for him in real life.
Right, and Joe Pesci had a hand in the formation of the Four Seasons.
Of the Four Seasons.
And there's a character played by James Russo James Russo plays Joe Pesci in this movie.
Right.
And I actually thought his inclusion was kind of funny too.
It was funny because there wasn't even a line that somebody said something to the Pesci, and he was like, What? You talking to me? Do I amuse you?
He does all that stuff.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, cool. There's a lot of little things like that I really enjoyed about it. And yes, even though we've seen this story before, I love that story. Of the band that sees itself become popular beyond their wildest imaginations, and then internal strife tears them apart. I like that story, even if I've seen it 100 times before.
No. But you hit it on before. You've seen this story so many times, but what makes it work this time is you got Sherry, Walk Like a Man, Big Girls Don't Cry. You have songs that you can put around a story like that. So give you an example. Look at a film like Dreamgirls. You said you've never seen a Broadway musical. You watched Dreamgirls, the adaptation. I think Dreamgirls is a much better film.
It is a better movie
than Jersey Boys is, but these films work because it's about the songbook.
Right.
Songbook meaning like the songs from the movie. If you have a musical that has crappy songs and people can't remember no, I'm not being real. Name one song from The Commitments.
Well, I could say Dark Side of the Street.
Okay, here's another one.
Destination Anywhere. Actually, it's probably not a good choice that you picked that because I have like the entire Commitment soundtrack on here.
I got another one for you then. Watch this. Eddie and the Cruisers. Name one song from Eddie and the Cruisers. I love that movie.
I can't name one for you.
But that's my point. On the Dark Side, Tender Years. But my point is that those movies or these sorts of biopics around music only work if you've got a songbook. Like, think about the popularity of a film like Ray. Ray works because you know Ray Charles and you know all those songs. I'm sure Get On Up with James Brown may not. I'm not gonna say it may not be a good film. The jury is out, but there will be a bunch of songs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, dun, dun. So you will know all the music.
Pretty good.
Man, James Brown is easy to do. Nobody understands the thing he's saying.
Then why didn't they let Chadwick Boseman do it then? Because
he's easy to do.
Because he's not doing the songs.
Watch this. I'm not ready to get up and do my thing. It's easy to do James Brown. All you have to do is say something that doesn't make sense say it in the context.
I'm just saying Chadwick Boseman's not doing James Brown in the movie. They're like playing James Brown, and he's like lip syncing. He's not doing it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the sad part about that movie, honestly, is that they didn't greenlight it 15 years ago when Eddie Murphy could have done it, because then it would. But see, I don't know if Eddie Murphy doing it would have worked, because people would have gone in thinking that it would have been more right. I don't know if it would have come off as a dramatic
which was the worry, if you remember, about Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles, because he had done that Ray Charles impression so many times before.
Right.
The worry was that he was just going to do his impression that he did on In Living Color, and that was going to be it. And obviously he did considerably more than that.
Right.
But
he did a lot more than that. He got him an Oscar out of that as well.
He got an Oscar out of that. You're right.
Breaking news: USA 2, Portugal 1.
For Christ's sake, really? Okay.
Dude, they're about to eliminate Portugal and go to the knockout stage, man. They can hold on for 5 more minutes. All right, no problem. So, Travis, man, we got 5 minutes left, man. I think. So let's look back on the 2 movies we reviewed this week.
Okay.
Both of you and I think, were really disappointed with Think Like a Man 2.
Yep.
But it was sort of expected because, as you said, you looked at the Vegas element and you knew it was a sequel. And by virtue that they didn't have the act like Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady book to kind of base it around, and just threw Kevin Hart in there with a bigger budget. It still finished number 1. A little off the pace. I was saying earlier in the tease that I think it has more to do with the quality of the movie than it is that there are all these other films, because Get On Up is not going to be impacted by what happen with this film.
Yeah, who knows what a movie like Get On Up will do.
Now the other thing that did you put the announcement up on Punch Drunk Critics?
What?
About Selma that's going to be released at Christmas?
No, I didn't. I didn't feel like I needed to.
Oh, dude.
But yes, it's
that
going to get
that is going to be the movie, bro.
It's getting a fall release date.
Oh no, it's getting a Christmas Day release.
Christmas Day, yes. So this is a movie that obviously
is what? Say the word. It's a what movie?
They're expecting it to be an Oscar contender.
Oh yes,
they're expecting it. We'll see if it actually does or not.
Dude, I'm so. You don't understand. I've known Ava DuVernay. This is 1998. I've known Ava DuVernay for about 16 years, man. I remember when Ava DuVernay was a publicist.
I know.
And I'm just telling you, man, you're talking about somebody who cannot be prouder. And then Ruth E. Carter.
So why don't you get her in here then? Why don't you get her in on this show?
She's filming Selma right now.
So much. If you love her so much, why can't you get her in here on the show?
Set
why isn't she sitting
Alabama
right there right
today
now? Why isn't she here?
Filming Selma.
Yeah,
Do you want me to take her off the set?
If you love her so much and she loves you so much, why isn't she here?
Do we even have Skype capabilities here? No, I mean, I'm asking. Anybody?
Yes, we do.
We do have Skype capabilities. All right. At some point, I hear everybody screaming.
Everybody's like, yes!
So if we have Skype capabilities, I'm going to get my buddy to Skype in. You think I'm kidding?
You're going to get her to Skype in?
I'm going to get. Why wouldn't she? She's done keeping it real like 4 times. We're cool.
I'm
just
asking.
So I am really, Travis, I am really, really excited for this movie because my other buddy, Ruth E. Carter, is doing the costumings on this. Who is Ruth E. Carter?
I don't
Malcolm
know.
X, Frankie and I mean, she's done costumes for everybody.
Oh, so she tells them what shirt to wear. That's awesome.
Yeah. See, okay.
So anyway,
so the next time you geek out about one of these crazy kind of obscure directors, man, I'm so excited. I'm gonna be like,
but that's a director,
dude. Ruth E. Carter has costumed Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X. So you're gonna poo poo the she did the Butler.
Yeah, I am.
Selma. So you're gonna poo poo this woman.
You're gonna name the Butler.
Who has had 20,
you're gonna name the
who's
Butler.
had 30 years in the business.
You're gonna talk about the Butler. You hate the Butler.
I said she costumed the Butler. The Butler.
You hate the Butler. You hate the
Butler
costume.
Made $117 million.
You hate everything about that.
I didn't hate everything about the Butler, man. You my friend, are a
hater.
hater.
Sit here and try to hype up the Butler now.
I'm not hyping up the Butler. I'm hyping up the people.
Because you got a friend who told Forrest Whitaker what pants to wear. You're gonna sit here and try to tell me.
People at home, Ruth E. Carter is a major costume designer from Hampton University. And before we get out of here, I would be remiss. Travis hates this, but we're gonna do it anyway. Happy 25th anniversary to Ella Joyce. Whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you for listening. Uh-oh. I just got another message.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we actually got a few more minutes.
Oh, we got a few more minutes.
So you actually have to put down your phone and
Portugal tied it up.
See, I knew it was going to be a World Cup update.
Oh.
This is actually pretty disgusting.
2-2, USA, Portugal. We trying to knock them out.
This is actually pretty gross that we've had the World Cup mentioned like 3 times on this show.
I cannot believe,
really sucks.
I can't believe that you are poo-pooing these professionals. I be excited when there are people that I know that are making big blockbuster movies that we're going to have to review on the show. And if it's bad, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to be like, what was her name? Tina Gordon Chisholm. Remember this? This is legendary.
Tina Gordon
Chisholm. She's the nicest woman.
She is awesome.
She is my buddy. I enjoyed talking to her. Her movie was wretched.
It's awful.
That joint was terrible.
You tried to walk out of it. It was actually
I did, and you stopped me twice.
I stopped you. That was actually Peoples. It was Peoples. Yeah, it was Peoples, and that was produced by what's his name?
Tyler Perry.
Yes, Tyler Perry. He who should be unnamed, but we keep naming him anyway.
You know what was bad about that movie, man? It was miscast. No, it was miscast. If you got Craig Robinson, who works best in small doses, as your leading man,
how come Peoples didn't hurt other black comedies? No, I'm serious. I'm actually asking that question seriously.
Why did it hurt other black comedies?
Why didn't it? I mean, like we don't like other black comedies didn't get. I mean, because legitimately, that movie's so bad, there probably shouldn't have been another black comedy for like 5 years.
Well,
but it didn't hurt it.
People looked at the sources of that and said Craig Robinson, Kerry Washington, because they probably made the movie like 3 years ago before Kerry Washington was on Scandal. I mean, so I'm just, it was really not a good movie at all. But that's a good question. Why didn't it kill it?
You know what? Honestly, I think the reason is part of the reason of what you just said, but also because I think that movie was so badly marketed and marketed so little that it's not that so few people saw it that they just figured, it's not even really a flop. It just didn't really even register.
Yeah, it was, but
it's not like a high profile disaster. It was just a movie that came and went and nobody cared.
Right, but my point of that story with Tina Gordon Chisholm is that I'm not a homer, and to my detriment, I have gotten in trouble for telling too much truth. So Lee Daniels, who the last time you and I saw him, he was at the bar at Middleburg, and I went over to him, and I was like, "What's up, man?" Because the last time we talked about Lee Daniels, the Paperboy was some straight garbaggio.
Lee Daniels threw a drink on him.
Nah. And then I said, Travis, why don't you go over there and holler at him?
I did.
And what'd you say?
I went over there and I said, "What's up, man?"
No, you didn't. You said, "Man, nice film."
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Don't say that.
You didn't go over to Lee Daniels and tell him The Butler was a nice film?
No, I didn't. I went over there and I said, "What's up, man? It's good to see you here." And that was it, basically. Then he asked me who I was, and I told him my name, told him who I was.
Who are you?
He said, "Who's this big motherfucker?" But no, he said, "No." He just we talked for a second. That was it. But
and by the way, Lee was at the bar. Watch
good.
this. Lee was at the bar with his dog. Remember that? That little toy dog.
I remember. What did Lee Daniels say after that screening of Mandela? By the way?
Oh man! Oh, you really want to tell that story on the radio?
Who cares?
Oh,
now?
you cold, man. After the screening of we were at Middleburg and they had a screening of Mandela, and when it was over, he ran up to Sheila Johnson and whispered in her ear, "Man, we ain't got to worry about that movie. That was terrible." I was like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't, Lee Daniels."
And the thing is, he's right. He didn't have to worry because he wasn't in competition either. His movie sucked too.
Oh man! Hey, we should call this segment "True Hollywood Stories," like the stuff we really know that we never say anything about.
And this is the funny thing about this show.
But that's a true story.
It is, and the funny thing about this is we're in the Jersey Boys segment. We've already gone all the way away from Jersey Boys.
Right.
We should have been talking about this when it would have made more sense, which is in the first segment talking about Think Like a Man too. But this is kind of just the way things go on this show. But
all right, so Mike Phillips just raised up some fingers. What's going on, Mike Phillips? Is that the World Cup score?
No, he's telling us.
2 minutes.
Telling us we got 2 minutes left.
How cool is it that we have a board op that's named after a saxophonist, Mike Phillips? He's related to you. You sure that you're not the real Mike Phillips in the skies?
Hundreds of millions of people with that last name Phillips. So we don't know if he is or not. He might just be. All right, so I don't want to hear about the World Cup. I don't want to hear it. So next week's show, we've got Transformers: Age of Extinction, and you're too busy looking at the World Cup to even talk.
The match finished tied, man, 2-2. Go ahead, man.
It's too late now. You already killed my buzz for Transformers now talking about the World Cup.
Only you geeks are excited about Transformers.
I'm not.
You geeks are excited about Transformers. I get excited about real movies. I don't get excited about FX.
I'm not excited about Transformers. I haven't liked any
Mike
of them.
Phillips is going crazy back there for Transformers.
Well, he's hyped for it. I'm not hyped for it. I just kind of want to get over with. So next week we got Transformers.
Anything else, man? Next week?
Not really. So we're gonna figure out something else to talk about for next week.
Got any interviews next week?
Yeah, not really.
Damn.
But we got plenty coming up after that though. So push that
all
next
right.
week. We got Michael Bay next week. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
All right. So
you saw my face like, for real?
Nah. Sorry. So we're about to get out of here.
All right. Episode 13 is a wrap. Travis Hopson, take us out.
Why do you always do that? We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. See you later.
Yes.
nigga, fuck you.